Hello everybody and welcome back. My name is Manga Rider and I should be doing something that I've wanted to try out for a while. I'm going to try review a show, but instead of tackling all of it like I used to, I'll just be reviewing the first episode and see if the first episode is enough to get me hooked or make me drop the show before I even begin. And with all these new shows being announced on YouTube and each one having their own episode for free and me having absolutely no life, I thought I might as well see if any of these shows are any good and which ones I would watch if I ever spent money on them, which, spoiler alert, I will never do. YouTube is the last site I ever want to give fucking money to. So because I'm more into the animated side of shows, I've decided the first YouTube show I should check out is the show Sherwood, which is a new take on the infamous tale of Robin Hood, which is an old tale told in medieval times of a man who fought from the rich to feed the poor and fought using his trademark bow and arrow. This is a tale that I think is very simple, but it has a goldmine of great potential in how someone could interpret the mythos. You can practically do anything you want when it comes to adapting the tale, from the setting of the world, the time zone, or even Robin Hood himself. And throughout the years, there has been many interpretations of the mythos that people grew up with some being great, bad, or being just okay for many audiences. The only real take on Robin Hood I know of and still remember is the Disney animated movie made in 1973, back when Disney tended to do a lot of reusing footage due to budget, but I still enjoyed it. So when I saw that Sherwood would be taking this tale in a whole new direction, I was pretty interested. The Robin Hood story told in the post-apocalyptic future and stars a female lead, bit of a strange combination, but I think it could work. So I eventually watched the first trailer, thought it looked pretty decent, and went into the first episode with a completely open mind. And now that I've watched the first episode and I had some time to gather my thoughts, alright, let's just get this over with. The story of Sherwood takes us to planet Earth set in the year 2270, in a time where the world has become overflooded due to climate change and has become pretty much an apocalyptic wasteland, where it is ruled by the tyrannical sheriff, who is giving possibly the most basic speech I have ever heard in my life.
Outsiders with no respect for the rule of law continue to invade our homes and steal from us.
And right here I found the first problem. The world building. There's pretty much none of it in the first episode. Aside from the opening giving us a summary of what happened before the episode started, the show never really explained how anything works.
Ungrateful sea dwellers bring with them crime.
What are sea dwellers?
It's food, water.
We are building a new city. A city safe from the storms that threaten us and safe from those outside our walls.
What walls?
You mean sea croppers like me?
What are sea croppers?
The upper city only stays as safe as its borders are strong.
How is life any easier in this upper city than it is in other cities? Because from this shot, the city seems almost completely submerged. These are all questions that aren't answered in this episode, and because of that, this speech should have been used after we got to know the basics of the world. But because we don't, it ends up making the speech have no weight and is more like pointless noise for our protagonist, Robin Hood, to give some witty comebacks to. And even then, the comebacks aren't really that clever.
Yeah, because you took our medicines, food, water. You mean sea croppers like me? Feel safe from me, do you? What's that, Sheriff? You want a little fishy snack?
Yeah, you tell him, Robin. Yeah. As the scene went on, we are also introduced to two other characters named Indigo and Gripper. Gee, I wonder why they're called that. Who are also seen robbing a few pieces of technology. These two pretty much add nothing to the opening except to show us that this world has these monsters called Drobos, which are these robots with tentacles. Get it? Because the world is flooded? And also to establish that this show has extremely lifeless animation, which will be a point I will go into in more detail after covering the episode. Cut to a non-suspenseful chase scene and an admittedly pretty good opening song, and we are now in a back alley? A Porsche? I don't know, it's never explained or expanded upon. Where after the successful raid from last time, Robin reunites with a character named Chewie, who is a rant in this series. Well, not exactly aunt, she adopted her because, you know, gotta have the orphan. Chewie doesn't have that much to her that makes her stand out. She's just like Robin in terms of attitude and shitty comebacks, but old, sick, and that's pretty much it. These two characters share virtually no chemistry. What the fuck? The syringe just clipped through her wrist! What the fuck? So after the small talk and Robin being established as being the fearless type, the village is suddenly attacked!
Stay back!
You again!
Get out of here! No!
I have a few questions. Why are you telling her to leave? You've pretty much established that Robin has been on multiple raids, and considering she came back without showing a single sign of damage, I'm pretty sure that Robin is perfectly capable of fighting. Okay, never mind. That was Quite pathetic. Second, why did you push her into the water? The Drobos were after her. What if they ignored you and just went for Robin? You would have pretty much killed her. Why didn't you run away? What are you gonna do aside from getting captured, which will drive the plot for this entire episode? And finally, why are the Drobos attacking Chewie? Robin was right there. Ah, nice to know that Gripper just so happened to be heading to the surface and drag Robin down back to his sub. Why was he even going up to the surface anyway? He was trying to escape! Now that Robin is in the hands of Gripper, we are now introduced to the sheriff himself.
The gauntlet was stolen?
Yes, but there's no cause for concern.
That is the most basic design of a baddie I have ever seen. Not to mention that they're just talking about a random gauntlet like we already know what it is. Guys, I'm so confused. Could you fill me in, please? Also, hi Zuko.
But you let the thieves escape.
No, well, yes.
What the fuck kind of response was that?
We have security footage. We found the hooded one in some disgusting mud market. But he, eluded us.
She was in the water! Your Drobos could have easily just jumped in and caught her. And if there's some bullshit of, these robots can't go underwater, then why the fuck are they designed to be squid-like? That would completely contradict the look.
The old lady has been apprehended. Soon our methods will convince her to give up this insurgent hood.
She was right there!
Make sure she does. Any means necessary. And don't disappoint me again.
Yeah, she fucked with my speech and stole a medkit. Death to her! Christ, this villain is so one-dimensional. After that suspenseful scene, we get a black transition slide that rivals my skills in Sony Vegas, and our three heroes are finally in the same room. Small nitpick, but nice to know that Robin is suddenly completely dry. How long was she out?
No one here but you, Little Mermaid.
Those Drobos took her, and it's all your fault. You led them to us.
It's not really their fault. They were just running away and happened to come across your Porsche. Or back alley. Ugh, it doesn't even matter.
I think what you meant to say is thank you for saving my puny life.
Out of my way.
Indigo, Robin's down there. I know her hair looks decent, but look down, please.
You're not going anywhere, Miss...
Robin. My name's Robin.
What were you doing up there?
None of your business.
You want to get back to your aunt or what?
Can I just say that this argument is so pointless? It seriously just feels like padding to make this episode longer.
All right. Medicine. People are sick.
Yeah, those upper crusters hoard it all for themselves. We know.
Oh, wonderful. Another term that is just mentioned as if we knew it all along. What the fuck?
Permission to disembark?
How do we know that you won't go yapping around town about what you've seen here?
What kind of question is that? You make it seem as if Robin is part of the upper city. She's pretty much in the same boat as you are.
In here.
Please. No one would be interested in what a mecha hand and his pirate sidekick have in their state-of-the-art piece of...
Watch your mouth!
Instead of just telling Gripper that she understands, she just decides to be an asshole. Look, I'm fine with characters being assholes, but they should have a reason to be an asshole. Robin is just being one so that we can see how witty she is, even though she's just coming off as being unnecessarily dickish. And if Gripper has this bias towards these upper crusters... God, that is so dumb! Why did he bother saving Robin? And why is he even reluctant to let her go? You'd think if he doesn't like certain people, he'd be more than happy to let her leave. And this is where I found the second problem. The characters are extremely inconsistent. The characters just say dialogue that keeps the plot going regardless of if it captures their personalities or not, which leads to some moments of me asking,
Can this hunk of junk take me up to the surface now?
why did that character even say that? But the thing is, I do know, is to make this episode have a decent runtime. This argument in the submarine shouldn't even be occurring right now. And even if it should, it shouldn't be about this topic because it doesn't make sense on why Indigo and Gripper won't just let Robin go. She's no value to them, they shouldn't care. If she started off with asking them to join her on her quest to save Chewie right from the beginning, then sure, that'd be one thing, but she just wants to get back to the surface. That seems like a pretty decent thing to want in my eyes. Your motivations are so confusing. So after the pointless argument has subsided, Robin starts rummaging through Indigo's stuff where she comes across the small object that Indigo stole in the opening. What? If you completely forgot about this, I don't blame you. The show never put any emphasis on this thing during the opening. It was only until I watched the episode again that I knew that this thing was the same thing Indigo stole. Fucking hell, this show is really bad at making things important from the start. But alas, she picks it up and it starts to mold itself into a gauntlet on her hand, which I will admit looks pretty cool. And after making a fool of herself by not being able to take it off, this leads to the argument that finally makes sense.
How are you gonna get there?
you're going to take me in this beautiful state-of-the-art sub.
Your brain must be waterlogged.
Come on, guys. Tui is all I have left.
Ugh, that dramatic moment was so forced.
You led a bunch of Drobos right to her. You owe me.
We owe you?
Yeah, what the fuck, Robin? Why did you even bother saying that? They owe you nothing.
Then the deal is, if you get me to the cube, I'll figure out a way to give this back to you.
I'm not getting anywhere near the cube. We get caught there, we'll never see daylight again.
I just need you to get me close. I can do the rest. Please.
Okay.
Indigo, are you serious? You didn't even put up a fight. Take me to the cube. Fuck that, I don't want to die. Please? Well, fuck, you got me there. Can't say no to that.
Deal?
Deal.
I knew you were trouble.
Trouble you could have avoided if you just let her go. So after that extremely quick agreement, we see the dreaded cube in all of its glory. How does that building even work? Like, sure, I guess it looks pretty neat from the thunder and lightning, but seriously, why is the building shaped like that? What if the thing accidentally tips over? This architecture makes no sense! And in this scene, we see Chewie with a new character named Rose being interrogated by the sheriff's sidekick, Mr. Gisborne.
Tell me everything you know about Insurgent Hood.
I'm not afraid of you. You're just a boy.
Bitch, the guy is in his 20s. What makes you think he's in any way boy-looking?
Just a boy.
Tell me where Insurgent Hood is.
Before you ask, no, I didn't mess with the audio. That's actually how the score starts. God, why is it so loud? That scream had absolutely no weight. And while my eardrums are recovering, we are back with our gang in the submarine, where Robin and Indigo have eased up a little and begin getting to know each other.
I knew you'd understand. Though, Tui's not really my aunt.
I'm turning the sub around.
Okay, that line was pretty clever.
She took me in after my mum died.
When my mom and dad died, me and my brothers just sailed off.
I wish I remembered my dad. Mum said he died in the prisons.
Barely remember either of mine. With them gone, I got sent to the salt mines.
Is that where you got your fancy arm?
The better to dig with, and better to dig my way out with.
Once again, this dramatic moments come straight out of left field. I know that the show is trying to explain the backstories to these guys, but I think this stuff should have been saved for a future episode, because then this stuff could have had much more time to blossom. But no, I guess to make characters instantly interesting nowadays, you just have to have them tell people how many people got axed off in their lives. Oh god, stop! Can't handle this! Like, this stuff is interesting, but because the characters just talk about it no nonchalantly and out of fucking nowhere, it ends up having no impact, and the potential for what could have been great writing later on is now squandered and just feels very unearned. But enough of that, we got a rescue mission to resume, as Robin takes some breathing gear from Indigo and embarks on her way to the cube.
Bet you 100 rations she doesn't come back.
What the fuck? God, I don't even care. The show has a currency now, just accept it. God forbid the show use a currency as simple as fucking dollars.
Searching, don't know what I'll find, but I'm ready for the dive. And if I reach a mountain, I'll be ready to climb.
Now this is where I will compliment the show in one regard. The one regard being that the music is surprisingly really good. There's no track that I hate in this episode because every song has a nice beat and a nice flow to them. It manages to get the right mood across in every scene, and the lyrical tracks, while cheesy, are nicely sung. Alright, done being positive. Let's continue ripping this show a new one. So Robin makes her way into the base, convenient that the room she came in had absolutely no security cameras, and we see Gisborne talking with our generic tyrant.
Is it my birthday?
No, your birthday's in December. Oh.
Looks like we're heading back into the queue.
Wait, so it did have a security camera? Then why isn't generic villain number 253 sending Drobos after her? What are you doing, you fucking buffoon?
Security. But, Father, I think you mean sir, don't you?
Wait, was I supposed to feel emotion? Sorry, I just didn't believe that was earned. At all. Why didn't you save this twist for later on? It would have been so much better. As Robin makes her way through the prison and show that these Drobos are the equivalent to stormtroopers, she manages to find the cell Chewie and Rose are in, where they are confronted by Gisborne and Villain.
Well, Little Miss Freedom Fighter. Not so free now.
What have you been eating? Fishy snacks?
Oh god, that joke was so forced. And here we finally get to see what these villains are capable of. Alright, this should be good. You could have saved them for later, but if it's good, I'll let it slide. Let's see what you got.
Let's go.
Really? That was the almighty power of our villains? God, I had low expectations, and yet somehow the show even managed to go even lower than I expected. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is problem number 3. The villains are awful. Not only are these cardboard cutouts the most characterless, cliche, and predictable villains I've ever had the displeasure of watching, but the fact that these villains are this incompetent is the final nail in the coffin for me being intimidated by these villains. I think this was mostly done for a quick laugh and also shows that Robin is stronger than we think.
Just a robot!
But considering that these foes could have been taken down so easily from the start severs any tension for the future of the show. Show, you have so many opportunities to be good, why are you squandering every single one? So after our villains showed how utterly useless they are, Robin manages to get the others out safely, and in the meantime, took out a Drobo, despite her being completely outclassed by them just a few hours ago, manages to hack into a system by using her gauntlet, which turns out to belong to her dad. Okay, show, what are you doing? You are throwing so many plot twists and drama in not only the worst places, but also in the places that didn't earn them. Could you imagine how much better it would have been if all these surprises, backstories, and villains were all saved for future episodes and the first episode just spent its runtime showing how the world works and showing all the layers it has to it? But nope, I guess it's just too risky to just tell a simple story, gotta cram everything into fucking every small gap. Now that this plot point has just been smacked over our heads, Robin, Chewie, and Rose finally made their grand escapes by jumping into the sea below, which makes it extremely convenient that Robin just so happened to carry 2 extra breathing gears. Jesus Christ, I'm not even gonna bother. And all of our heroes meet together in the submarine at last, with Robin being quite the backstabber.
I would, but technically, if that door opened because this said it was my dad's, then as his sole heir, it belongs to me.
You're Robin, what the fuck?
We want the same thing.
Yeah, we both want that.
I mean, we want something more than the lies the sheriff feeds us. You have some, skills, plus this sub, and together we can...
No. No way. Never.
Too bad. All that loot sitting behind locked doors, waiting for Thomas Loxley's security clearance to free it. Guess I'll have to get it on my own.
She has a point.
You guys are pathetic at arguing. Robin should not have won that. After the sheriff and Gisborne just bitch a little bit, we finally get our last scene with Robin staring to the great unknown, reminiscing the thought that her father may still be alive.
Are you still alive after all? If you are, I'm gonna find you.
And with that, the credits roll, giving us another very good song.
Ooh, I bite into a grenade, set a fire just to see your face. Run through a battlefield without a shield. I'll do anything to get to you.
Jesus Christ, this was painfully average. Sherwood is one of those concepts that has such a good premise, but the execution was so forgettable and boring that the show has lost my interest before I could even get invested. I like this take on the Robin Hood tale, but everything happens so fast that I never had time to fully appreciate anything. It's like the story just says something, moves on, and never expands upon it, which is a shame because this world could have benefited so much from just a few extra seconds of dialogue. And if you can't do dialogue, just show us more shots. It would have been interesting. Sherwood felt like it was trying way too hard to be original with all its new words, technology, and lifestyles, but tries to tell you all of this information in just over 21 minutes. Which ends up with the world greatly suffering from being a mile across, but only an inch deep. And before I forget, it's finally time I talk about the presentation, which is the final problem, and it's easily the one thing everybody commented on in the comment section of this episode. First, the animation. If you want an example of animation that is slow, lifeless, and stiff, this is the show you would go to. The shots are basic, the camera angles are not dynamic, the characters move extremely slowly, the action scenes are very floaty and have no impact or weight to them, the characters' facial animations are not that varied. It's overall very average animation. Awful? No, but nothing really great either. My guess for the lackluster animation is probably due to either a lack of budget or a lack of time. If it's a lack of budget, then holy fuck, that is poetic. For what the show gave us, it's passable, but it easily could have been much better. The voice acting was also all over the place, with some lines that make you wonder if the voice actors only had like an hour to record their lines, and even some scenes where the animation does not match the voice delivery at all.
That's hilarious!
Ugh. No performance really stands out, and most of the characters just sound dead with absolutely no charisma. But I will be fair, Robin Hood, who when cocky, gives off a nice performance that hits more times than misses. Probably the biggest issue I have with the presentation as a whole is probably the sound mixing. There were points in the episode where the music was way too loud to a point where I couldn't even hear what someone said.
Awesome. Not my first stroke, hands.
It only happens a few times, but when it does, it's really bad. But aside from the movement looking average and the sound mixing being all over the place, on a visual level, this show looks fucking gorgeous. The detail on every character looks fantastic, the textures are very well done, the character designs, while basic, does a good job of telling everybody apart, though I think the faces could use more differentiation. The backgrounds are very well constructed with some great shots of large cities, with the first shot of the cube looking great. And most importantly, the colors are very vibrant and very visually pleasing, with the opening having a very nice red hue to the whole scene. It's great stuff. But aside from that, I've got pretty much nothing else to compliment Sherwood on. If you enjoyed it, that's fine, more power to you, but for me, this was just a whole lot of meh and lost potential. I really wanted to like this show, I really did, but from what I saw, I'm going to give the first episode of Sherwood a 4 out of 10. And I will only come back to it if someone else tells me it's good. Because for now, I'm not interested in moving on.
Searching for the unknown.